This is how much we know about movies. We just if you want a raw review of movies, you're getting it right here because we don't know shit.
Damn! Fuck, I don't know, man. Is that like nostalgia purposes for kids these age?
I don't give a shit. I don't care.
We get that, Pop.
Fine, I'll Google it. Through the magic
you don't
of podcasting.
have to Google it. I'm just saying, just take it out.
No.
Not bring it out, or just be better prepared.
Shut your fucking mouth.
I am the father.
Man, sometimes I wish like things would stay at a simpler time mentality.
Welcome to the Two Dads Review podcast. You're like, we don't plan this shit. It comes up if it comes up.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm in such a weird mood. Like, I'm trying not to be angry, but I kind of just like, this is probably what Bruce Banner feels like on a fucking regular basis. Like trying not to become like the Hulk, like just this low level, like minimal rage annoyance thing that's sitting right here. Cause like my blood sugar is high. I ate dinner earlier with Brody, and like the final step of my insulin pump is to like push OK like one more time after you've entered all the information. So I was doing that, and Pumpkin asked me something, and I didn't hit the final, you know, is this your final answer, you know, button? And well, because they do that shit so you don't accidentally like inject yourself with insulin because your keys push up against the fucking button or something like that, and somehow it made it to the menus. Weirder shits happen, right? You know, but it's just a failsafe. Or you're sleeping and your kid's pushing buttons on the fucking thing, you know, and you don't, you know, oh God, I'm fucking ODing over here. You're like, what the shit? But like my blood sugar's fucking high because Pumpkin distracted me like long enough for me to think that I was done and not like hit that button. And then all of a sudden I was like sitting here, I was like, I got cotton mouth, and I was like, I ain't even fucking smoked, man. Like I was like, I don't have any reason to be like this unless it's high blood sugar. And then fucking my Pied Piper rat over here fucking has just been following me all day long. And then that just like started to like grind my gears. I was like, let me check my blood sugar. And then sure enough, it was like 388. And I was like, why is it? I was like, 8. And I bet you I didn't hit that last button. And like, I went in my head, like retraced to the exact moment in time, like when I stopped and said, yeah, Pumpkin. And then slid it into my pocket in case I needed both hands at the same time.
Right.
So now like my blood sugar's all high, and I'm like, I want to do the podcast because the show's all cool, but I'm also like, I want to get this fucking podcast over, and like I want to like, I don't know, go run like 6 miles or something because I got to get all this excess sugar out of my fucking system, and it's really goddamn annoying.
Well, get real excited, get real animated while telling me about how great the episode was. Shall I leave that story in? Should I just leave the story in? Shall that be the start?
I mean, yeah, we might as well just start talking right now.
That's it. Welcome to the Two Dad Review podcast. We're here. You hear Corey telling his blood sugar problems. That's what happens. Crazy diabetics.
Type 1 life. Woo woo.
I'm sure it's a hashtag somewhere.
Yeah, right.
Welcome back for all of you who joined us for our review of the season 2 premiere. Last week, we are here back to talk about episode 2. A very how do I put this as a Star Trek fan? So, in case this is maybe your first time back or you didn't listen to the end of our podcast last week, I'm the Trekkie, Clay. I'm the Trekkie. Corey is the fan of sci-fi, but not hardcore Trekkie like I am. So you get to hear his reaction from somebody who's not either extreme to one end or the other, because I have one friend of mine who just can't he's a Star Trek fanatic like I am, and just can't stand Burnham. Like I was like, well, you better get used to her because she's not going anywhere. I was like, she's literally the main part of this thing, unless you go by my plan, by my theory, which Tilly is actually the main character of this show, but it's being secreted because she's the savior. I mean, in fact, in this season so far, she saved the day twice. 2 episodes, she saved both days. So I don't know what to tell you. Tilly's the one she's touched. She's special.
She's special.
She is. That
well, you can tell. You can tell, especially with this episode, you can tell she's also about to be like at least for the next few episodes, she's about to be a lot more involved. Yeah. Like everything is going to center around her. Mm-hmm. You know, like, and it wouldn't be surprising, you know, if they had kind of like a 10-year layout of this. Like, all right, Tilly, like, you signed an 8.5-year contract. We've wrote all this stuff out knowing the big shebang. So you got to kind of play this secondary role while we talk about Burnham and blah, 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 and Pike and yada, yada, yada. And they keep bringing in all these cool people and everyone's like, oh, blah, blah, blah. And then all of a sudden, like, some shit's going to happen and everyone's going to be like, what the fuck? And then it's like, Captain Tilly. And it's like,
yeah, right. I mean, something we didn't mention last week that we need to make sure that we bring up, because they made a point of showing it to us in the last season on Star Trek Discovery, like when they showed you that like 2-minute clip of all the stuff that happened, and you know, you're watching it like, wow, you guys left out like 3 episodes completely you saw nothing about. That's fine. Like you put all the big stuff. One of the things they showed us, I believe in that clip, was the green spore landing on her shoulder. Remember that happened in the season finale, and we were like, oh, what could that mean? You know, and we went all kinds of, our whole, you know, season finale podcast was like, what could that mean for Tilly and all that kind of stuff. So that's going to play its point at some part. I read somewhere tonight when I was doing some research that one of the fan theories is that is her friend from high school or from elementary school, whatever grade that girl was in. I mean, she died. I did the math when they said when she died when she was 16, that girl that she was seeing and nobody else saw. Like,
yeah.
She died when she was 16. So whatever age they were, the fan theory is that was her consciousness in the mycelial network, like implanting itself on Tilly. So that's why she's seeing her now. That was an interesting idea. I don't know where that sport ties in, but I was like, that seems too boring. I want it to be something bigger than just like a single person. I want it to be like, because everything she's done her entire time on screen since this season 2 premiere last week and this episode, it's all been very important. Her recognizing that the asteroid the first time was something weird, so they had to grab it. So they did the whole friggin' like hit the brakes, catch the frickin' asteroid shit last week. And this week where it's like, we're just going to do fucking donuts in a starship and then throw the asteroid back out the back. Like everything she's done has been the solution. Like everything she's done has been on purpose and correct.
Yep.
And it's very interesting. I don't know. I want her. I've always wanted her to be the main anything because she's a joy to watch on screen.
Yeah, well, maybe that dark matter shit that she fucking got zapped with, and then that spore interacting, you know, because
she got fucked up too.
Yeah, she did. She got blasted in that wall. Like, holy shit, man! But how does my simple brain explain the crazy science thing? So, like, I for my basic understanding, like, if we could figure out how to like harness dark matter, right? We basically just have perpetual energy,
right?
Okay, and you know the good doctor's always like, I found him in the mycelial network. Energy, this is recycling. It's truly never over. Blah 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 blah. Like, well, if you have the thing that like never dies and is essentially like permanently going through that recycling process, like what if you could then go into the mycelial network and go, hey, I picked out my nanny from 74. Let's bring her back.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and then you go grab all of her energy and then you put it in a little rebirthing machine. That's the dark matter. And it's like, boom. So I'm wondering if like that kind of imprint thing that you were talking about now is she's kind of connected to both sides. And also with that crazy knock on her head, she kind of created a buddy.
Yeah. Like,
you know, and who that person was probably like her subconscious is like the child person of hers, like super best guide, you know, one that you never talk about, but that's the one that's like whispers to the little kid self of you. That's like, you sure you want to do that shit? Right. You know, like those right. Butterflies speak out. Like that's probably the manifestation of that kind of shit, you know, that helps you. Cause everything that person was saying is something you kind of argue with yourself about, right? Like, I know I have the answer. And you just sit there and like rattle shit around back and forth. And this other version of you is talking to yourself going, no, wrong, keep it slinging. Come on, man. What do you got? And like, that's what that, you know, apparition or what fucking space ghost or whatever the fuck that thing is.
Space ghost. Yeah. Right.
Yeah. You know, it's kind of doing like, it wasn't like it was this weird, because it would have been different if, say, like that person came back, right? And she had more of like these adult physical mannerisms going on.
Right.
Because, like, let's say she brought her back and she died when she was 16 or something, whatever the math came out to be. I think you said it was 16, right?
Yeah.
But like, let's say the energy was going or whatever, and it just pulls it back. And so for like continuity's sake or, story, like, why are we going to bring a child into this kind of adult show that it's just easier to bring her back at, say,
early 20s, yeah,
28, whatever, like that she could be later 30s or younger, later 20s, you don't really know, kind of thing, and was like a real guide in this whole thing. That would have been kind of weird, because then it would, like, if they had these like more of like push the comm button kind of interactions and that shit was going on, but this was just like, Tyler Durden like fucking talking to himself, like, as he's kind of
right.
like doing shit, whatever.
Yeah, part of me kind of wants them to show me like the security footage from sickbay when she's talking back and forth to nothing, and the fact that no one's ever in sickbay ever in this show. Dude,
it is like the most fucking secure, understaffed. They were all furloughed.
Yeah, not tomorrow, not when this podcast drops. Everything starts up for at least 21 days.
That's true.
Yeah, finally. We'll see how that goes. That should be just as much of a friggin' dog and pony show.
And all they should do for that 21 days is just send paycheck of all the back pay. And then that's it. We're just going to cut 3 paychecks for this fucking 21 days because God knows what's about to fucking happen.
Yeah.
Here's all the back pay.
Yep.
We've all been green-lighted for 21 days. Fucking just cut checks for 21 days, man. Make that shit happen.
Yeah. It'll be interesting. So what I was wanted to bring up, this episode is a real favorite of mine because it felt, and I don't want this to sound wrong, but it felt very Star Trek to me. It was very, what the fuck are you doing? What are you doing?
Oh, it's my phone. The screen was dirty, and I was rubbing.
Oh, your knee is right there. I was like, because I can't see that part, so all I see is like this fucking weird ass.
I got the best tunes going in the background. I was like, all right, mute Clay. Mm-hmm. Oh, she's done talking. Yeah, blah 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 blah. Make up something. Da, da,
fuck
da,
da. Oh Jesus!
You went so deep on that one.
It was bad.
About to sling some slow jams after that. Fuck you. Yeah, baby.
Oh shit. Okay, it felt very Star Trek to me. It was one of those. Yes, we know that Discovery is going to tell this overarching story, that it's not going to necessarily be episodic, but I could pick out 3 or 4 episodes across all of the past Star Trek shows that deal with a situation a lot like this. It's the away party. It's the people who are stuck way back in time, like where they think they are. This one was a bit different because it wasn't like coming upon a group of folks that were like transported from the 30s. There's the original series where I think they ended up being transported from, I forget how they got there, but they were using either the Bible or something else as like their holy book. Maybe it's Paradise Syndrome. No, they all kind of blend together. But yeah, there's 4 or 5 episodes between the whole thing that kind of has the same feel. And this one felt good. And it was directed by the person who should direct an episode that feels very familiar to all of us Trek fans. And Jonathan Frakes directed this one. He directed one episode back in season 1. He directed the first full episode in the parallel universe, which was really it was a really good episode where it got everything kind of established for the whole parallel universe that they were in for 3 or 4 episodes. Yeah, and so he directed that one, and he's directed this one, and he has one more, I think episode 9 he has for this season as well. So
yeah, I don't understand episodes like this, like with the we sent people away back in time, blah 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 kind of thing, right? Like,
right?
Because
does General Order 1 bother you?
No, okay. Well, here's my big problem with this whole scenario in general, right?
Okay.
It always seems like every time we fucking have to send a party out to
Away team.
fucking leave mankind behind, right? They always go somewhere and then they're forgotten. They always get forgotten, okay? And then someone finds them fucking
200 years later.
1,000 years, 200 years later. They're like always a simple farming community, okay? Or some shit like that. Now, here's what bothers me. To send something out in space with 30 people, you need something very big to begin with right there from the get-go.
Mm-hmm.
And unless you were like already at space travel levels where you just had like ships at the ready to go like, oh shit, I don't know how somehow our super space sciencey tech missed this, but we're all going to die in 30 seconds. We have time to get one ship out with 10 people. Only scenario I'll buy. And then they better have some hardcore sciencey reason why it was undetected if we're already doing like space travels to be able to send people out to another fucking planet. And I know they get saved by this magical angel god alien thing in this scenario, right? Like kind of beamed them out and just dropped them off into another habitable planet. But they said they had some stuff, right? So it's like, okay, you still had enough sciencey shit, and I don't think whatever saved you is going to bring just a bunch of fucking stupid people. So like everybody there would already be kind of smart, and if you're already starting with that people and you're having them teach babies that kind of shit, like those babies are going to absorb that kind of science in super sponge levels. So everybody's going to start off kind of being smart from the get-go. Okay. And then in most scenarios, they're like, we knew about it. We sent out an evacuation party. This is what happened. Well, again, you have to have a giant fucking spaceship. So why wouldn't you already pack it up with like, hey, we found a habitable Earth this many things away. So why wouldn't you pack it up with like bulldozing and building equipment that could easily produce standards of 2019 living, right? Mm-hmm. Infrastructure. And then you already have all the space age fucking tech shit that gets sent with it out there. And you're going to send smart people and super athletic people. And then there'll probably be some maybe little fucking lottery for like every average Joe that's like going to get the fuck out of there, because you know this shit's going to be underground governmental and fully funded and shot out into space. So they're going to have all this shit. So I don't understand why you land in a planet that was Earth 2.0 250 fucking years later. And like, they're like slinging these mud huts, man. No, they fucking wouldn't. They would at least be maybe in the worst case scenario, like 20 years back from where they left, and maybe not have the fucking internet. But I'm pretty sure if you can send people out into space, they have a pretty super high, like portable fucking modem they just drop and they go, all right, Wi-Fi on the planet, let's go.
Okay, so they were pulled 200 years before the time frame that they're in on Discovery right now. So in Star Trek timeline, it was right around World War III. It was pre-warp, so there was no major space travel, not in the guise of what we were used to on these shows, right?
Yeah, no, I get it. That's why, like I said, they were saved by the gray red
angel
thing, right? Like
right.
But almost all scenarios, just in general, when this storyline happens,
okay, I get what you're saying.
It's always seems to be like we never keep going. It's like, oh shit, we left all the cool shit. You know what? Let's not bring any of the cool shit. That right. Stick and hoop, throw it on the bus. That's all we fucking need. Let's roll. Yeah, well, it bothers me so bad.
And to further your argument, even on a small, if you're talking like 30 or 40 people, that over 200 years, that type of civilization blossoms to what, probably in the thousands. So it's 2019. So think about what we were doing in 1819. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's been 200 years. What the fuck have you been doing?
Yeah,
you know
you guys haven't at least hit your own industrial revolution. It's somewhere in this. You guys, no one said mass steam production at any point on this fucking planet just to make life a little easier. Like they were still sitting there going, got no idea how to turn these fucking lights on in this church. There are literally outside of you fucking 20 different ways you could have got enough juice to turn those lights on for 50 minutes a fucking night to have your sermons or whatever you needed. Like,
right.
It's just astonishing to me.
Yeah, I will give you that one. Yeah, it was interesting to see a lot of like religious stuff. But it's especially from Earth folk, because that's what like the big Star Trek thing. Especially because Roddenberry was an atheist. Like there's not a whole lot of, they've evolved past religion. At least within the Federation, there isn't like a main religion or anything like that. That's kind of been done away with. But they always run into cultures that have their own specific religions and things like that. And it's always like the people of the Federation trying to figure out like how to circumvent that or how to like explain that. It kind of reminds me a little bit of this week's episode of Orville as well.
I was just about to talk about the Orville was also a Discovery episode.
It was crazy that both episodes this week were like
you know, but except for theirs was all on astronomy sign or some shit, you know, and their idea to like fix it was really cool. I like how they did I like the kind of super cool, almost pseudoscience. Like, okay, we've kind of already done something like this, but if I could do it on this scale, this is what it would do, kind of thing. You know, like I like how they do that. But then I also like how religion of some sorts in these episodes like that is always the
enemy.
Yeah, for the most part, like, and it's always the enemy to some, and it's weird because it always gets made into the enemy, especially on shows like Star Trek. Like now, the Orville just was flat out like, you guys are just kind of still stupid, even though you send stuff out to space. Okay, like they just kind of call it out because they're more comedic to it, but Star Trek does it in the way like most people would, where you know they have all of these really diehard rules that they follow for all kinds of what if situations, you know, and for a large scientific community to have like the wherewithal and understanding to just sit back and kind of go, okay, still got a God. Gotcha.
We're on the same, we're good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And especially where in the, you know, Federation, it's, hey, if you practice religion, like that's cool, but that's just like someone doing tennis now, you know, it's not this weird thing. It's like, cool, man, you still do that? I didn't realize like jazzercise was still fucking in. All right, cool. But this religion gets made into, you know, because they went the cool way and they're like, we just took the best parts of everything and then just started from scratch.
We literally made our Bible out of like cut pieces.
Yeah. At first, honestly, I thought it was an old phone book.
I thought it was like a newspaper. I thought it was, I was like, what are they pulling from? Because with Star Trek, with these shows like this, that deal with the past and like weird ways that people evolve, it could have been anything. Like I said, I don't remember which episode it was, whether it's TNG or the original series, but there's one where like their Bible is something really weird. Like it's not the Bible, it's something else. Like,
well, that's what I'm saying. They're not above doing something goofy. So when I saw the phone book, like I was expecting him to read like Mike Savior's Plumbing 1-800, you know, like New York or some shit, right? You know, like I was like, what the fuck? But this, you know, universal religion gets made into a bad thing because they're like, we can't break our rules and tell them that we are actual spacemen, you know, kind of thing. Like, their religion really wasn't more. It was kind of more like, okay, they came from Earth, they took them all and made one. Got that? It still seems to be a practicing thing. That's what they're doing, right? Like, and then it was just, oh, here's our problem because religion, and we just found them, but they're not at space travel yet. So we can't tell this one guy who's probably a hardcore atheist or whatever, you know, that, hey, you're right. You know, which they eventually
Burnham eventually convinces Pike to do that.
Yeah.
Because her whole point, and the whole point that she was arguing was that it's different when you come across another planet with a population that is evolved on that planet, and they are not at warp travel yet. Like, that's different than what they came across in this episode, which is those are our kin. Those are humans who are out here in the Beta Quadrant where no one fucking goes to. Like, this place it's 150 years to get there at maximum warp. That's how far away they were. And this thing was transported. And let's not even bring that into the equation right now when it comes to whatever transported this entire church of people. I'm not even, did you, like, it took the building too, right? Like, that building was the one from Earth, correct? That's what you got from it. That's what I got from it, right? It wasn't just like we made this church in the image of what we came from. I think the church came with them. It may have been the only building, but I think that's where everyone was huddled when they all moved, when they all got transported to this new planet.
Yeah.
I mean, they had light bulbs, so it kind of had to come from Earth because they're not making new light bulbs. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, no, I get that. I'm just trying to think, was it like one of these scenarios where, because when we watched the head cam, you see
everyone cowering in the church.
Yeah, and they're like, the bombs are coming, and like, and the soldiers are firing at something still, and you're like, what the fuck? But then the golden or red angel alien, I gotta think of something cool.
Well, they're calling it Red Angel, but you gotta put your own spin on it if you'd like to.
Yeah, I want to call him like MacArthur or something like that. I don't know, man. He's got to have like a regal name. But I can't tell if that was like the end of the video was him coming in, right? And it was like, and then boom, dropped him into the new place,
like Wizard of Oz style.
Yeah, and kind of like, as you know, I mean, if you can move a church of people through space and time, you know, like that, you could probably put it in the ground nice and neatly with, you know, some structures or whatever, right? Because
yeah.
But I'm just saying, because the church wasn't like, it was just like slung there, and they had like support beams holding it up, you know, because there was a little community all built around it. And the weird thing is they were like, we haven't been able to get power to it, but they've had some sort of batteries or power for like that beacon thing that the one guy was the only guy that knew about it. And so like little shit like that to me that makes sense, because I couldn't tell if they were the people that were saved and then that church was actually resurrected.
Like they rebuilt it.
Yeah, like they rebuilt it there, and what we saw on the cam was them either getting whisked away, or what I'm thinking it is, because I really fucking hope this is what it is. It's the ancient aliens kind of theory, where Earth has been basically like a giant petri dish. And so all of our different mixes and races haven't come from like one gray alien or species of aliens. They've come from many different aliens that have visited and kind of like thrown their own people into the race, you know, like the Aztecs, and all of a sudden they're just fucking gone. It's like, well, you know, what the shit, or you know, stuff like that, right? And so I'm kind of hoping that this is like factioning grays, and like the humans are one of the grays like pet projects, and that's why he whisked them away and they've survived and done all this stuff, right? But I'm hoping what we actually see in the cam is not the dude that came to whisk them away, but the dude that probably started World War III and thought it was all fucking over and was coming in to like finish off what was supposed to be the last group of people, not the savior guy that was coming in to pull them away.
So you hope the angel is the bad guy of the thing and that they get whisked by something else?
I'm hoping there's more than one angel. And the one that we just happen to see, because they all look the same, was just like Megatron. And then like there's an actual like Optimus Prime on our side, and he's the guy that's like doing the beacons, like go here, go there, blah, 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 like save our shit. Because I think the further we go along in this, we're going to see these more, you know, humanoid origins and stuff. And like, why do we have this way the fuck out here? Or or you're going to start noticing that a lot of these aliens that are in the Federation, they end up being like the main aliens on like the main decks, you know, that we kind of always see. And it's all intertwined. I just kind of hope it's something like that and not just this.
Another race that we've never met. Well, actually, there is a theory on who it is, on what race of alien it is. Do you want to hear about it?
Sure.
So what's going around is it's Iconians. And just to read directly from Memory Alpha to describe the Iconians, ancient texts called they were a civilization supposedly destroyed some 200,000 years ago. Ancient texts called the Iconians demons of air and darkness who were said to have the ability to appear at will on far-flung planets without the use of starships. And later this was used on the Iconian gateway technology, which is from one of the original series where you could literally, it was like a portal. They would just make portals where you could just walk through this gateway and boom, you're on another planet. Now, it required a portal. This looks to be like, I'm going to transport this bubble. Because honestly, if you think about it, whoever moved that, okay, if we're going with the fact that they didn't rebuild a church with like light bulbs that didn't work, that it actually is the church from Earth during World War III that landed there when they were moved, that thing took like a bubble of that church because it got the cellar and everything as well with all the gear and shit, the basement of the church.
Yeah.
So, I mean, all that came with it. So they're moving it. It's interesting. I don't know. And to further kind of back up the plot, and this is not like it's not canon, but it's not like it's solidified. The Star Trek Online multiplayer or MMORPG game.
I was about to bring that. You get to play as Evil Tilly.
You can. I saw that. I was like, ooh, I don't play that game. And like I play that game like here and there, but I'm really, you know me. If I get into a game, like that's it. Like the day's over. Like that's it. That's what I'm doing for the next however many hours. And the Star Trek game can be that way. Like I wish the graphics were like a little better because I feel like they could be better. But like the storylines and the stuff you're going through, I'm like, oh, this is just fucking cool. Like it's really like the worlds are really crazy and well done. And the Iconians look real close to that. Oh shit. What's the colored glass called? I'm so fucking stupid.
Stained glass?
Yeah, stained glass windows. The picture they had built, like they look real similar. Not the whole wings thing, but like the way it looked. So that could be it. I kind of like you. I kind of do like your idea, and I would like to see something like bigger and more grandiose. I'm not sure if that's going to be the case with Star Trek. I don't want to let you down, but I like that big grandiose idea that you had. It would be fun to watch them play that out. I just want to say that I do not know. I love it, but I don't know why Tilly is so involved in it. She is the one driving it so far. It's only been 2 episodes, but she is driving this so far. Everybody else around is reacting to whatever she comes up with. Both episodes.
But Star Trek's also one of those shows that does a really good job of taking its core characters. Because like the 5 people you're always going to get. And they do a really good job. I mean, any good show that has a group like this always did like a really good job of rotating who's kind of the main focus, but it's also part of the story. So it's kind of like, here's the shifting momentum. The ball's been passed over here, like a show, like The New Girl. Like it felt like, one season you're watching, you're like, God damn, man, like Nick's a whole lot fucking funnier than I remember like here. Or, you're like, Schmidt's just killing it. And then it like, I think,
You mean the whole season that Zoe Deschanel was pregnant and she wasn't in the show and it was the greatest episodes of the TV show? I know I said it. I don't care. I loved it way more when she wasn't on the show. It was way funnier when the actress was out because she was pregnant and it was all around.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I'm trying to think if I agree with your nonsensical statement. I mean, I like Megan Fox on the show. Like I thought
I don't even care about the ones they brought in.
If they were going to replace her, like she could have pulled it off because I thought she was a lot funnier than she was going to be.
I will say that Megan Fox pleasantly surprised me. But even if they hadn't brought somebody in, letting the rest of the core cast go and not have to, I mean, because Zoe has her own specific kind of humor that she's pulling off for that show. But I always felt like it, and because it's focused on her, it was always the other crew having to react to that style of comedy, But when you took that away, it was just funny and good. Like everybody got to not have to wait for Zoe to do something quirky and weird, and then everybody respond with their funny stuff. That's all I'm saying. I don't know where we got. That's probably the hardest right turn this show has taken in a long time.
I think you just don't like happy people, man.
I hang out with you all the time, and you're mostly happy except when your blood sugar's high. Then you're just like you said earlier, like Banner.
Like one just annoyed motherfucker. Like I'm annoyed with myself when my blood sugar's high because I know how annoyed I am, and I'm like, you're just a dick. Just don't talk to anybody. Like just go away until your blood sugar comes back down.
Right. Oh man. Okay. So what else did we learn this episode? We learned that Spock's in a psych ward. We learned that from the captain, from Pike. We learned he's not just out like taking some time off. He has committed himself and also said, hey, I'm voluntarily committing myself and don't call my family. Like, I don't want them to know that I'm here.
Yeah.
So that's a thing.
I also don't think that either was be too far off for a Vulcan. Like, I just don't think...
Kind of a shame issue?
Yeah, like...
If you could feel shame? Or if you were going to show shame?
Yeah, because they just don't emote anything ever. Right. Like, it's all just like, okay, we compartmentalize that into the deepest thing we'll never feel again. We've shoved it way the fuck down. We're done. We're good. Right? Like, if the Starship Doctor was like, hey, this is the nurse, Spock's dad. Just want to let you know he's in therapy from a mental breakdown. Like, it just wouldn't go over well. So I could see a Vulcan always being like, hey, if I'm going to therapy, we're never fucking talking about going to therapy, right? Like in-house, okay, maybe I'll try this shit. But they don't share with anybody what the fuck's going on.
Right. We also, everything we said last week was confirmed. So yeah, he's been drawing that stuff 2 months before they ever appeared in the sky, like those 7 things. So there's something definitely he was gifted with or nightmared with or noticed a pattern of or scientifically deducted these 7 points appearing way before they ever actually did. So that's something that's more of our overarching plot. Anything else happened about we still don't see Spock yet, so they're teasing that shit out hardcore. Like, and I don't think we're going to see him next episode because I'm almost positive we may not see any of the crew next episode. It may be entirely Georgiou focused on her stuff. On it may be Laurel and Ash Tyler and Georgiou's on Quonos and all kinds of stuff. That may be all next episode, straight up just them, which could be cool. I'm completely great with that. So we're not going to see Spock then either.
It should be too. Like, I always feel in large scale shows like this, especially if you're going to have an enemy, because like they're always like, "Ooh, we better watch the fuck out. Don't go left. That's their street." Like, you know, you can see where the gang signs are written in space. Like, right? You know that you should have episodes that are just strictly dedicated to the other side. Because you can't just focus on them like doing their shit, even though the war's over and like all hunky dory, while you know damn well a race that is that hyped up to go fuck people up is not going to just sit there and go,
cool, okay, we're at peace.
That's fine. Guess what? 24-hour training sessions, no big deal, right? Like I want to go see that shit,
right? And that would be a change up from what we usually get with Star Trek when it comes to the enemies, because most of the time you get the crew either being dumped into their scenario, like somebody going undercover or somebody being captured. So you still have like that, like center, like you're like, okay, Picard's here. Like I know him. So whatever he reacts to, I'm good. Or there was one where Troy went undercover, or actually Troy like woke up undercover on a Romulan ship, and she was all like done, like she had been cosmetically changed to look Romulan, all this shit, and it was all like her trying to figure out why the fuck she was there on top of all this stuff. So just to see an episode that's just the Klingons, like we have this character we've established, Laurel and Ash. And just to go focus on that for an entire episode, that's awesome because that's not done a lot in Star Trek. So I'm cool with it. I think that'll be cool.
Yeah,
Will
I
they
think
do it?
I think we're gonna see homeboys training. Like they're gonna give you one of those like
Rambo or Rocky montage.
yeah, like that you're gonna like you're gonna see the queens play, right? Like you're gonna watch kind of her pieces that she's set up in the background. I think you're gonna kind of get to see those pieces moving. We may not know exactly when and where time wise that actually happened. And then you're gonna see homeboys Rocky scenario where he's been like getting the shit kicked out of him and they're like, fucking one of us, you one of them. And he's like, I'm neither. Ah, bah, 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 goes back and fucks everybody up. And then they all respect him and stuff. And they're like, yeah, man, you may not look like us, but deep down, you're like 7 lunged and 4 heart, 2 kidneyed and 98 rib like us, or fucking whatever.
2 penises.
2 penises.
Yeah, so that'll be a cool episode.
And then that'll give you a reason for Burnham to end up wherever she's at. Like you said, the old Star Trek thing. Like, well, we need one of the good guys to be there for a fucking reason. So, and she's the only one that knows Giorgio's like sleight of hand trick that's going on. And I think she's already done another one that's happened from those little montages they keep showing you, her little shape shifting face.
Heck yeah, man. She's got some sort of tech.
I wonder if no, I don't think she's got tech. I think she's gone under that surgery. But they figured out a way to make it like that fucking translucent paint job shit. Light hits it in a certain way and it's like, ooh, my glimmers are gone. Or fucking whatever, right? Like, yeah, I don't, because it would, like, tech to me, if it was just, ooh, I have a button and I can look like anything or whatever, to me, that is too simple for space. Like anybody should have at that point in time, like we can already download an app on our phone and I can change my voice to like Mr. T or whatever, pretty damn close. Mm-hmm. Like if we're flying in space, dude, they've already had like some guy invented like a choker for dudes that was cool. It's like, yo, man, hey, wear your shark tooth necklace with our fucking hemp braids and push the button and look like name famous rapper of the time. Like, I don't fucking know, but that just seems too simple. But if she went through like that fucking skin transfer, bone reconstruction shit, but with her dark magic tech from other space, she fucking brings in and was like, well, hey, we've also been able to do this because they didn't give a fuck what they did to people. So they've probably already done some really weird, dark shit. Cause I think she said something like, we've changed people to get into where we needed to be last season, like bad, like, whatever. I'm just saying, I think she's going under some like hardcore surgery.
Well, when it's a button, just don't be too let down. When it's just like a projection,
like you just want to swoop in at the knees, swoop in at the knees.
Well, if that's what it ends up being, then you've literally, the same tech exists in the Star Trek universe as the Star Wars universe, because one of the assassins from one of the prequel movies had the exact same tech where like they look like a pretty white chick and then like the button turned off and she was like some kind of reptile thing. And I was like, that sucks. Like that's odd. Or maybe it was just
because to me, I don't like,
but that one may have been shape-shifting as well. Like maybe they maybe she was a shapeshifter. Because
here's my thing with it. Like when we saw her last season, especially when she was ruling the galaxy, everything bent to her will, right? And she also was somebody that would go whatever extra mile she needed to go to make sure they would bend to her will.
Right.
And I think because when they show that weird transition of her face, it's not like she morphs into another pretty person. Right. It's not like it's a blonde haired, blue eyed or just some crazy person like we've already seen in the show. And we're like, hey, that kind of looks like it's like a Cleone face, some sort
of
alien underneath it, like in vibe to it. Like, I don't know why you would have like a button for that. Like it if you were, because to me, it's like you would need that if you were an ugly alien. But she is pretty and confident. And it seems like in space, like alien peoples just understand what good looking is across aliens in general. Like they could just look at another alien species and go, yeah, that's a 9 where you're from. 6 here, but 9 where you're from. I get it. Okay.
Right.
You know, like, I don't know why they would do it. And I think I'm really just harping on knowing that they can do the bone construction shit. And like, I just want her to be like, I don't know, some weird trial by fire shit. And she adapted it and was like, now I'm got the best of both worlds, because she like been hanging out with them and was like, man, your guys' bone structure is pretty fucking solid. Like 8-inch blade ain't gonna do nothing to you, is it? Okay. I just think I think I'm just hung up on it because they did the crazy thing
right
last season to me with the whole like manipulating of actual bones and stuff. And they were like, oh dude, we've never seen anything like this. Like, and they made it such a big, like, painful fucking deal. Like, Evil Giorgio to me would be the person that made it like an everyday thing. Like, we're going to make it, if you guys have this tech, we're going to go through as many of your low level pieces of shit as we fucking got until we could get this thing in and rearrange ourselves on the fly to be scanned and look like anything we need to infiltrate. Because I'm taking over this fucking place. Like, that's, to me, that's her evil mind.
Right.
Like, not just to push a button and mask me and hope no one's scanning with an x-ray machine, you know?
Right. Well, yeah.
I've got a lot of grand ideas tonight.
Yeah. While cool as that sounds, it's probably just something to get her just past the right guards that she can then whoop their ass to get to whoever she's getting to.
Yeah, I know.
But we could hope. We could always hope. It's always next episode. Did you like, you mentioned it earlier, Kwok-Choon got some major airtime today. The tactical officer, the girl that's sitting next to Detmer, she was brought down with the away team, and she was brought for the sheer fact that she grew up in a Luddite collective, which I don't know if it makes me uneducated, but I had to like Google what that was.
Yeah, I'm waiting for you to tell me.
Oh, okay. I was like, I'm waiting for you to either go, God, you fucking moron, or I have no clue. So
I don't think I've ever heard that word in my life.
I thought it will. I've heard it used before, but not usually. It was like someone being crass to someone else. It is a person opposed to new technology or ways of working. It's also historically a member of any band of English workers who destroyed machinery, especially in cotton and woolen mills they would believe were threatening their jobs. So back when the cotton mill was created, these people like fucked them all up because they thought they were going to lose their jobs to these machines. Yeah. So she grew up in a culture in this time frame that's like, we're not cool with tech, which is cool because now I kind of want to know her story of how she was like, I don't know, are they kind of like Mennonites where they send their kids out to go do
here's their version of Rumspringer, and
exactly like, can you choose to not go back to the culture? Yeah, exactly.
And someone handed her a phone and she hit Amazon and Facebook and Instagram and was like, I'm never
coming back.
or it's something crazy like she is like an actual prodigy, so she was doing all of this crazy coding and shit all in her fucking head already, you know, and it was like, I gotta get the fuck out of here because my brain is already working on higher levels. But it's like everybody in the Federation, like IQ 120 up. Like there's nobody that's me.
Or me.
You know, like, I mean, like even their janitors are fucking Harvard, Princeton, fucking, I got like 9 doctorates, man, and I'm cleaning fucking toilets.
Well, hey, when you've done away with money and you've done away with personal belongings, and the whole point of the Federation is to focus on making yourself a better you to everyone around you. When that is how our world finally becomes, then it's real easy to be smart about a lot of things. That being said, though, if she hadn't grown up in that community, I'll bet you all the fake Star Trek money that doesn't exist in the world, that Pike or Burnham had never seen that kind of lock. Like, because it was 200 years old, you know, the slide lock, and she's like, oh, it's a slide lock. I'll just give me a magnet and I can do this shit. And I was like, well, go ahead, girl. I was like, get it. She got a coat hanger and a friggin' magnet. She opens that door. They'd have been down there and just died down there. They would have never gotten out if they hadn't brought her with them. And she did that shit like she was.
That was kind of like me when I was a young man. Well, a kid, not even a young man. But I remember being in like one of my grandfather's like older cars, like an older truck that had like crank windows when I was a little dude.
Mm-hmm.
Never seen them yet.
Right.
Like I was lucky enough that both of my family's like main car was a van, so it had latch windows.
Right.
And the front windows were powered, and then the little like Civic was powered windows, but it was a coupe. So I never had windows to fuck with, and I never sat up front. And I was driving my grandfather one day, and I was like, "Where's the button?" And he goes, "There's no button." And he like pointed the handle, and I looked back at him like, "The fuck you want me to do with this thing, old man?" And he's like, "You got to crank it." I didn't know what to do, dude. And I'm like, and now that I like know my age, you know, I'm 35. I was born in 83. I realized how privileged of a life I led not to know what a fucking crank window was.
I'm about to say, you fucking rich uppity bitch.
Dude, I know. Like, like, I know that's like a funny story to tell, and it's like, but then when you really break it down, I was like, man, your parents took really good care of you, dude. Like, my dad tried really fucking hard. Like, right. I never worried about anything.
How's that 20-foot wall you live behind with all them silver spoons in your mouth?
Dude. Funny story. Nickname in high school was Spoon by the place where I got my guitar lessons. Said I was born with a silver spoon in my mouth. Yep.
And you didn't know what that meant.
No, I knew what that meant. I knew damn well what that meant. They were picking on me hard, but yeah, definitely only child too. Celebrated my birthday and Chris's. Oh, get this. My birthday's Christmas Eve, and I still got two. I was loved.
Well, good for you.
Dude, I remember getting shit as a kid being like the only child from other kids because I had things.
Mm-hmm.
And my always automatic response to like guys that were just being dicks to me about that kind of thing. Like I was always a dude that would be like, "Hey man, you want to come play with all my cool shit? Because I got cool shit and it really just sucks playing it by your fucking self. I'm an only child. I know what it's like to be alone. I don't have brothers and siblings. You want to hang out with me? Please come, hang out." Right?
I'm so alone.
Deep down inside, I need someone. But then they'd pick on me about having shit, and I'd be like, "Well, I'm sorry, your parents don't love you." And that would just shut them the fuck up, like right away. And they're just like, "Hey, dude, what do you want me to do about it, brother? Want to be nice and play with my shit, or keep being an asshole?"
Right? I can send you back to that house of no one that loves you.
Yeah. You want to go get beat up by your fucking 16-year-old brother for another 8 hours, man, or you want to hang out here for 8?
It sounds like fun. Yeah, right. That's great. Yeah, so let's see. So Kwok-Choon got some good airtime today. That was nice to see some of the external bridge crew, and I think they're going to do that throughout the season. Is people are going to get their episode like from that bridge crew, so we can start. This is now that season 1 has hit, and we know the idea behind the environment, like the whole story. Now we need to get the personal stuff. We need to get the, because like all last season is pretty much a Burnham episode every episode. You know what I'm saying? So especially if you're people like my friend who's like, I hate Burnham. Like last season was a little rough for you because it's just all her. Now this one, you'll have.
I don't know how you can not like Burnham.
I don't know. Well, you know what? We had him on last time. We'll have him on again. He can explain his odd hatred of Burnham, and we'll make him stand to it. You want to talk about it? Good. You tell us why you don't like her.
Yeah, really. I'll be like, all right, no judgment.
No judgment. Absolute judgment.
Why do you hate this character? By the way, I'm making marks of all of your invalid reasons.
Right. Well, yeah, I'm hoping other than
being a personal opinion, and you might really want to self-evaluate that opinion.
Right. I'm hoping we get we go with Reese one week, we go with the comms guy.
I think this show's gonna do that.
That's gonna be. I think that'll be great.
I think this show's also branched itself out far enough with the whole mirror universe and bringing back a little bit of that. Like last season it was already there, but now we've brought in a player who's playing the game. Like, but once this side, doesn't give a fuck. about kind of getting home, because she knows if she gets home, she just takes her plates back. She knows no fuck with her still. Like maybe Tilly will try, but then she'll be like, "What? What are you going to challenge me now? I'm still alive," like kind of thing. Maybe you'll get something crazy like that. But now we have a pawn here on our side that's moving, which opens up this who's working with the people we were just at war with, right? Like that's who she's domineering over right now. Mm-hmm. So we're gonna get like their whole side, and it's really cool. So that they could even take into like a couple episodes or like half a season,
that's why she has her own show coming up.
Well, I know that, yeah, but like for now, what I'm saying is like they could paint. They'll probably paint a little bit more of that picture this season, especially with the show coming out and all that. So we'll get a little bit more information and in depth over there. But then once it kind of gets back to just the Trek side of things, a little bit, they're going to have to really invest in having storylines with these other crew members. Cause like, Michael's cool, like Pike's cool, you're cool, but I don't want to see and or talk to you every single day. You know what I'm saying? Like, So after a while, even if the show's really good, even just for a change of pace episode one time, like you're like, well, I've seen this person 60 fucking times, man. Can you just tell me what they had for lunch once?
Right.
Well,
I think I saw somewhere that Lieutenant Commander Ariam, the android looking girl in the back, she's going to have we're going to learn a lot more about her this season, because we don't know anything about her at all. She was just on the bridge last season. In fact, they changed actresses. So whoever's under that makeup now is a completely different person than before. I wanted that episode on how Detmer got her pilot's license by the time she was 12, because she just kind of threw that out there out of nowhere during this episode. And I was like, oh, I want to know how that happened. Like, tell me all about when you were a kid. Like, you're a pilot. So what did you steal when you were 10 and fly somewhere? Like, I know you did it.
I wouldn't even think it's that. Now I'm flying low at your knees.
That's fine.
It would probably be like you see her in a training program and they're like, dude,
they just like beat it into her for
no, she goes to be a flight simulator, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's just a normal like space training program kind of thing that all the kids get to go do or take or whatever. And she's the one in there that's all of a sudden doing like advanced flight maneuvers through whatever scenario that they're all in. And some guy's like, holy shit. And then like she gets pulled off to the side and then probably has like a year of education. And they're like, all right, let's see if she can really do it. And you watch her back out of the dock or some shit and like 3-point turn, doop, 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 parallel park, doop, 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 and then she's like, got my fucking, my license. Let's go.
It's gotta be better than that. Don't, that's not the case. I'm not listening to you.
How's it feel?
Yeah. Sorry. I'm just telling you, that yours is definitely wrong.
On the same note. Let me have my moments. Let Star Trek ruin it, not you.
Yeah, well, let's move on from me being apparently wrong, and let's talk about Stamets for a little bit this episode. I complained last podcast, and so for episode 1, I felt like that they had addressed his like problems with Hugh, and he was all down and kind of Eeyore last week. And then all of a sudden he was like happy and doing sciencey stuff again when they were catching this asteroid. And then this episode, he kind of just like shows up on the bridge and he's like, I heard you need some help. Or like, because Burnham was, because the away team was gone. So Burnham's not at the science station. So he like, doop doop. Hey, just, and he's all like kind of, happy and cheery. And then they need him to jump because they got to take him to the Beta Quadrant because they're not flying there normally. And him and Tilly have a conversation where he explains about, if I go into the Bacilla network and I see Hugh, like I'm not coming out. Like I'm not coming out. Wherever we think we're going, we're not. Like I'm just staying here. And then when they actually finally do the jump, like there's no really major lines, but you can tell that when they did that jump, he didn't see Hugh at all. Not just because Culber wasn't in the show, but the way he walked out of that thing and stormed out of the room, like you could tell that he was physically upset that he didn't see him again and was not cool with it. You know what I mean?
Didn't notice any of that.
Really? He was real pissed after they jumped because Tilly even chased after him. She's like, you know, are you all right? He's like, I can't talk right now. And he's like, kind of, you know, so I've got a feeling there maybe even more happened during the jump that we didn't see. Like you didn't see him in the network.
I saw that. Yeah. I just didn't. I just took it as a guy because like he said, like it wasn't him that flew them out. And I don't think it was, I just think he did something he didn't want to do. Like he was scared to go back in there and also was unsure like what he would do if he saw his lover again, like what would happen to everybody. And like, I don't think it was like he got out and was like, oh shit, I didn't find him or like feel him or sense him. I think he just was like, I don't want to fucking do this. This is not what I want to do. And then when he got done, it was just kind of, there's that rush of emotion that he had already just got done talking about. And then you made him go do the thing that he doesn't want to go fucking do. And then you're like, hey, are you okay? No, I'm not okay. I just did the fucking thing that I don't want to do. No, I don't want to talk about it. You know, like, and I think,
well, but see, I want to argue with you
that something else happened, but I just don't think like that whole storming out was something crazy. I think they're going to like, you're going to see him thinking in his head as he went and did his little job through the mycelial network.
Mm-hmm.
Cause I think he's gotten to the point now where he can probably navigate in that thing and also take a little piece of him and like leave a dragging net to put out feelers for
right.
like whatever he's going, you know? So I think we're maybe get some stuff in there where like, oh, his first pass didn't work. So he was pissed, but then you're going to see him like, but I did it. Yes, I was mad, but I did it, you know, kind of thing like that. So you're going to see this maybe like failure, but also this birth of an idea that for the most part worked.
Right.
You know, kind of thing. Like,
I mean, they're definitely using the spore drive this season for a plot device as opposed to just this new thing no one really knows anything about. Because they use it to get out to the beta quadrant. Great. So they're going to, you know, and they used it to jump into the middle of the asteroid, the rings of the planet they're on to start the maneuver that saves the colony down there. And he volunteers himself. So while you say he doesn't want to go in there, I want to disagree with you because I think he wants to go in.
I just think for the first one, like that's what I'm saying. Like, all I was arguing is I don't think he was like pissed that he didn't fucking see the guy. I just think this was the first time going back in, and given what happened last time, he just was like, all right, I'm done. I did what I need to do. Leave me the fuck alone.
Right.
Like, that's what I think that was. And then I think, but like how you said something else happened, I think we're going to find out that, yes, he was in there doing something else and playing around as well while he was doing the jump. I just don't think it was like, oh, I jumped in and I didn't get what I wanted because I didn't find him.
See, part of me just, I feel like he was just standing wherever it feels like he's standing when he's traveling that way, like just screaming for Hugh and like nothing happened. He didn't respond. I have that feeling. I look, the way he came out, I was like, you tried some shit while you were in there and he didn't show up like he did last time.
Yeah, but he also always looks mopey. Like even when
he does Eeyore it around a lot, unless he's doing science stuff.
Yeah, and even when he's like has an aha idea, like he has a somber face and tone, and unless he's talking about something happy, you wouldn't really know he's in a good fucking mood. Like,
right.
And especially if he starts talking about something sad, it like his face doesn't even change. It's just his words, and you like, and then the way he looks, you're just like, well, now I just feel really, really fucking bad. Like, you know, like,
right.
He's a good actor. Like you feel, you know, like he does a really good pained man.
Yeah, he's definitely a tortured soul on that ship. Like he has that whole deck. He's like, that's mine. That's my sign. I'm the tortured soul on this day on this crew.
Yeah, and he does a good enough job. I shouldn't even say good enough. He does a good job when like his funny moments come around to like give him enough heart for you to like him, because I don't care like who you are in life. if someone is always just down and you've tried to be nice and you've asked what's wrong and you've just really done everything that you can possibly think of, like eventually you just go, I'm just going to leave you the fuck alone, man, because I can't be around this anymore. And you're not doing anything to change or allowing me to like help. And it's not even about me, man, but like, fuck, dude, do you talk about anything nice or happy at any moment in time? Right. Like we've all been across that person. Like no matter what it is, it's always the wrong fucking side of it, you know? Like, so he, like, while he plays the pain guy, like when he does have his moments of brilliance, and even though he's kind of arrogant, like, you know, he got put in check a little bit last season when you're like, that's good. You needed that. And then he kind of came around, and when he has his funny moments, you go, it sucks that you're sad all the time, man. I wish I saw you like that more. Like, I wish you had your husband. I wish you had the thing that made you happy, because when we do see it, it's really awesome. Right. You know, like I agree with that. He does a really good character of that. You're like, right. Yeah.
And his emotions are actually having an effect on the crew, most specifically Tilly, because she does her whole collection of the asteroid piece with no one else watching her, with no one else, like, once again, like nothing but like some no protection, no like any backups, like, you know, when she fires that thing into the asteroid, like that little piece, like that kind of just floats off and leaves the gravitational bubble that they've created around it, and like crushes that fucking table. It's like a little speck. You're like, oh, you should not be doing, like, you should not be doing this by yourself, girl.
We melt steel with giant suits on, just grab the smallest of things out of it. Like, what are you thinking? Like, yeah, right. I know the future's supposed to be like things are super simple, super easier, or whatever, you know, push a button, you have a gravitational field. But it's like at a certain point, man, like, you throw on a helmet just in case. Like, come on.
Yeah, I mean, and she explains it to us, the audience, but it's funny because she explains it to the computer. Like when the computer tells her, "Hey, you should probably stop what you're doing because what you're doing is causing this." She's like, no, I need to do this just a little bit longer because I got to find a new interface with the spore drive so I can help Stamets. Like, she explains it to the computer, but it's really for us. So, and I was like, you can't, like, you're going to get hurt. And you do. I mean, literally, she gets fucked like right afterwards.
Yeah, man. But I think, again, that was like for like the same reason we saw the spore like kind of fall on her, you know, like that was her mutant power, right? Like connection kind of thing.
What, you think she caused that energy?
No. I'm saying when she got zapped, like whatever that spike was when that thing got all near it. But I think because she had a little bit of the networky goo in her now, or whatever it is, like, and also I think that thing was like, I'm contained. What the fuck's going on? Like, this is not what I do, right?
Right.
But when she got zapped by it, whether she caused it to happen or it just happened, I think it's going to be what triggers her whole next scenario, and that'll be whatever gives her mutant power. Like, she's already super smart, and she's already created another brain person to help her think through a fucking concussion. Like, right. You know, like, she's got shit going on that most people don't. So, right. I think when she got zapped by that, DNA was rearranged or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Like, she fell in radioactive material, and now she's got the cool shit.
Right.
You know, I'm not saying she's going to have like a mutant power and like Magneto or Fly or some shit like that, but her connection with the mycelial network already, it's like she's the understudy to it. Mm-hmm. Like, she's going to be the 2.0 for that thing.
Right. My wife and I were talking today in the car, and I want to put this out there because I haven't read it and I haven't heard it yet. And if it's true, it'd be funny. But so Wesley Crusher on The Next Generation, he's one of the most, like, I'm not sure if despise is the right word, but like his character, even within the show, got shit on all the time. But if you watch The Next Generation, any show that had Wesley as a focus of it, he was saving the day as a teenager. He's on the bridge flying the ship as a teenager. He was way advanced mentally to the point where a guy who's called the Traveler, who could, I believe, travel through time along with just, he's just like kind of like a space hobo, like a smart space hobo who just like he lands wherever things take him that he knows, and he has this big giant idea of how things, like where he sought him out and wanted him to go with him, to travel with him for a unbeknownst amount of time, whenever they travel. So I would love for like something like whatever strange smarts is going to tell you to tie into like why Wesley 100 years later is as smart as he is. Like
she's like his great aunt or something.
Yeah, I mean, now that you've said that, Beverly Crusher was a redhead as well. So I'm just saying, I haven't heard someone tell me that theory is not good. So who knows? But
it would be the easiest one to make too, because you could, like, if anybody ever came with the argument of, last names are different or some shit like that, just married.
Yeah, married and female. Sorry, they took the man's name.
Yeah.
Yep. But yeah, so I just, for some reason, I got to think about Wesley Crusher when it came to like young, smart, because if Tilly and her were in middle school together or whatever, because the girl looked like she was like middle school age on that recording from the yearbook, and she died when she was 16. I think when they told us the time frame of when this episode happens, it's only like, I think Tilly's like 20 or 21 in the show. Like, she's super young, and she already says, and Saru talks to her when she's recovering from her concussion, that she's the youngest member of Starfleet ever admitted into the officer training corps. So, I mean, she's super young. So it just kind of had that whole thing going, and she's super smart and has saved the day so far in a lot of episodes.
Or maybe just one of the writers was like, "Hey, remember that character? But he was a dick.
Let's not make him a dick."
And we just made him super bubbly and not a him and a girl.
And awesome.
And does all the cool shit that little asshole used to fucking do that no one ever decided to like come around for.
Right. Hey, and we'll tie it all together.
Like, that was a failed experiment, guys. We said, could we all that her? But no, we couldn't. We couldn't make a permanent asshole a hero. We just not happening.
Right. So yeah, it was that was interesting. What else happened this episode that was major? Captain Pike jumps on he literally jumps on. Okay, I don't know what that kid did to that phaser to make it like charge and then like it, because taking a blast on, like, it was on stun because he told him to. Did he even tell him to put it on stun? He said to keep him handy. I'm sure they didn't have it set to kill. So, but I don't know what that kid did to that phaser, but like he literally did the old hop on the grenade thing. Like, he fell on a grenade to save everybody. Like, it was going to explode.
Yeah, but like, do they have some, like, because some guns, like they always go in the future with the DNA, like it'll only shoot if it's registered to your hand and blah, blah, blah. Like,
wait, are you saying does the phaser have the same security measures like Blade's sword? Where if it's not your hand holding it, it's going to explode?
Well, like, yeah, like if someone grabbed it and started fiddling with it the way that girl was, would it detonate as a like fail safe especially to not have like future tech on a planet that's not supposed to have future tech? Now, granted, they're probably going, I don't know if like they're thinking like, hey, a girl, or that's like a male safe for like wartime or something like that. But I'm just wondering if something like that is built into those guns, or do they just not have safeties in the future and the girl would like slid the fucking little thing and it was like kill full power and she's doing the thing that every child seems to do, point the gun right at her fucking face, and he's like, oh shit, let me get out of here. And he jumps on it as it's getting fired, kind of thing.
He seemed to know exactly what was happening to that weapon. Like, because
it's
not like pulling the trigger. There's like a buildup and then it fires. Like, you pull the trigger, it fires. So it was like it was making a noise of like it building to something. So I don't know what they were trying. They didn't really elaborate on it, and I don't know if. And I kind of feel that they're just kind of trying to show us his character, because his character later on, like we talked about last week in the Star Trek canon, gets injured badly enough, to be in a wheelchair and not be mobile whatsoever and be badly deformed. Like, so he's like one of those guys. They're showing you, look, the shit that happens to him later on in canon, like that's because this dude's going to hop on a grenade for anybody. Like he has last episode, he was ready to just like fucking no one else get killed. Just let this pod smash and everything.
I get that they're showing him a hero. Like I was asking, do you know from all of your nerdy?
I don't. Because usually they
have a failsafe like that. I mean,
there is a way to set a phaser to explode. Like you can set it to overcharge. Now it may
that looks exactly like what that thing was happening. Like girl fiddled with it, and it went to charge, and instead of her knowing what to do and like pushing it off before the charge hit too much for too long, because I'm pretty sure like you could let it hit that max bar and then go boop, boop, and you're fine. But if you don't within like say 10 seconds,
right,
it'll blow up in your fucking hand, which is exactly what was going to happen to that girl.
Agreed, but he wasn't okay. Of all the phasers over all of the movies and shows we've seen that have been set to overload and explode, he got fucked. Like he got messed up, but he didn't. I'm talking the old explosions are like taking down walls type explosions, not like, ooh, you took a really hard stun blast to the chest.
Yeah, but this was also, well, dude, I mean, his shirt was ripped open.
His ribs were all broken.
I mean, you could also say, I've never seen anybody jump on a grenade and walk away from it safe, but we have, because I've also seen grenades fucking blow a goddamn wall literally away. So, are they doing the whole like live grenade analogy? Like you landed on the charge close enough to the ground and it's not high tech enough to still blow you the fuck up.
Yeah,
kind of thing,
I guess what I'm getting at is that they didn't tell us enough. He didn't give enough details as he was running towards the kid. Like, oh god, it's set to overload, or oh god, it's set to kill, or oh god, while you're running, usually they tell you. Like, even though you in real life you wouldn't do that.
Character, he like I think his character, like they can't write that in for his character because his character just
jumps on it. Fucking, I'm just doing it.
He's not gonna ever be the guy that goes, oh shit, we got 10 seconds to save him. He would go, why the fuck would I say that? I have 10 seconds to save them. I'm not wasting the time. Like he's already had that argument 30 seconds ago in his head going, it would sound cool, man, but we're not doing that. Just go do what the fuck we need. Right.
Right.
Yeah.
He's not like the girls like the Detmer and Kwok-Choon last episode when they were counting down like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then when they say 1, she explains what button she's pushing for like 2 more seconds. I'm like, that's not how that works. When they fired the thrusters on her suit, I was like, you can't say that. You have to say 1, then hit it. That's how it works when you count something down. You can't go firing directional thrusters now. Like that's you've already counted 2 more seconds. Like she's already dead while you're explaining it to us. What's going on?
Yeah, but at least in that scenario, there is a sciencey thing or something that may need explanation for some people. But for a man to sacrifice himself, saving a little girl, jumping on something exploding, you don't need any explanation. You just go, yeah, motherfucker, you're cool. Save that girl. That's what's up.
We know you live past this time frame. We know it's canon.
I don't need to know why that your gun malfunctioned or she somehow figured it out.
Speaking of that, so something I wanted to bring up was that last season, especially the first couple episodes, like everybody who was hating on the show about the mutiny and about how that shit doesn't happen in Starfleet, I was reminded when looking up the episode of the original series with Pike in it, fucking Spock mutinies the Enterprise. He takes the Enterprise, he takes Pike to take them to Talos 4. Like, he mutinies, and people, there's an article I read today that's like, this kind of makes sense that Spock actually, because we know that he understands how smart Burnham is, and like, he kept track of her while she was in the Federation, even though they weren't speaking, like he knows. I think that people are like, I think he learned from her So when he did his mutiny, he did it right, because at the end of it, he didn't go to jail. All of his charges were dropped and everything was like it never happened. And he still got to take Pike to Talos 4 and drop him off. And there was no, penalty of death, because the quarantine on the planet was like, by, if you broke the quarantine, it was a death penalty for you in the Federation, which is like unheard of because of the mind tricks they could play on people. So they like, oh, you were there, we have to kill you because you don't know.
Yeah, we don't know
what they've done to you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was funny that people were bitching, and then like you completely look back and go, oh wait, Spock mutinied at least once, if not another time. I think there may have been another mutiny during the original series too. I can't remember, but I read the article a while ago. But yeah, it was just funny that everybody was griping
out there. They're just gonna fucking bitch hardcore about something.
People are gonna bitch and like not like Burnham. What kind of people would do that?
It's weird how it's always like a fucking hateful minority like that, but yet somehow they like seem to have like the loudest fucking voice. It's boggling. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you just were quickly, after reading an article, went, oh yeah, I remember that episode because I've watched it.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, what should happen is all of these other fuckers that have watched all these goddamn episodes too, when they listen to our podcast after you reading the article, should go, oh yeah, I've watched that episode. And then it should just stop. And then anytime it like tries to flare up like the measles or something, and you go, vaccinate, you stupid fuck, you go, hey man, watch episode 2, 3, blah, blah,
right.
blah. Right there. There's your fucking answer. And then if the guy comes back and goes, nah, it didn't happen, you just know, you just block them. Like, there's no need to ever talk to that person ever fucking again.
Right. Yeah. So, I mean, other than that, the episode, they pull the maneuver, the episode where, they drag all the, the bad stuff away from the extinction level event. Everything goes well. Tilly's idea works.
That's
she
so
sees.
funny. I just realized that the Orville had to save them, and
yeah,
to save like
it was
like, hey, if like when movies come out at the same time that are the same thing, it was like writers challenge each other, and one of them goes, all right, I'll write the serious one, you kind of write the comedic version, and we'll see if we can make good episodes.
Right. Yeah. So I did notice that. That's why, for some reason, I thought that Jonathan Frakes directed the episode of Orville this week as well, because it'd been cool if he had, because then he would have had 2 shows that he directed literally running at the exact same time on 2 different channels, like on the same day. But he didn't.
He's like, I wrote this one with the right side of my brain. I wrote this one with the left side of my brain.
Yeah. I mean, and he has directed episodes of the Orville, just not that one. He directed one in season 1. I think he came back in season 2, but I did not see it in the list yet, so I can't back that up. But and I was watching some behind the scenes. Everybody, like, he is like the quintessential Star Trek director. Like, he knows it back and forth. Not to mention he's what, like, in the Marine Corps, he's a Mustang. He was enlisted first, and now he's an officer. So he was an actor first, now he's a director. So all the actors are like, oh my God, you speak the same language that I speak. You don't speak fucking director. You actually know what I've been through. You know the pressure, and you know the pain of doing this scene 18 fucking times. Like, so it's one of those things, like, everybody just oohs and ahs over him, and he's directed Star Trek First Contact is seen, at least I believe in the overarching Star Trek opinion of Trekkies, that one of the best movies that Star Trek has out there. Like, there's others that are up there, but First Contact is really, really good, really well rated on IMDb. It's one of the highly regarded ones, and he directed that one as well. So he knows what he's doing. It's not just like, oh, we're throwing this guy a bone. Like, he knows what he's doing.
Yeah, I know. You speak insanely high of him every time he comes up.
Yeah, well, I can't help it. So, but yeah, overall, back to Discovery that he directed. Good episode. I like the focus being off of people. I'm interested to see what happens with Tilly and her hallucination friend. So she's going to have to figure out what's going on. When does she tell somebody? We still have Burnham working. Burnham is following the rules. I have a feeling. Okay, so something else that my wife pointed out, because she should be on this podcast apparently as well. So you have these 2 people in this cast, these 2 characters, and you have one who has always done the right thing, then did the wrong thing when she thought it was right, and was punished harshly for it was able to recover. Now she is walking the straight and narrow. I will, she to the point of like, we're not going to break, but the captain ordered me to not, reveal ourselves. We're going off the prime directive, General Order number 1. We can't show them our technology, even though they just had a bag full of it already, and a kid just blew up with a space gun. But that's fine. Like, I'll take him back to the church to hide us transporting us out of here. And she's walking that line of, I'm going to do everything right now. Like and it may end up biting her in the ass later on. While on the other hand, you have Tilly, who literally cannot do any wrong by doing everything the wrong way. Like, she does everything right, but the complete wrong way, to the point, like, Saru's, like, lecturing her, but then when she's like, but I was trying to do this, and he's like, okay, well, I see your point, but you still should have done that, but everything worked out okay, so you're cool. So, like, you have just duality of what's happening between the two of them.
But also the difference is Tilly never lies.
Oh, no, she just does it.
well, that's what I'm saying. Like, she does it, but then as soon as Saru was like, blah, 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 like, she doesn't make an excuse. Like, she goes, oh, yeah, I did it this because I thought this was blah, blah, blah. Like, Michael, see, her problem is, like, she tried to play everything close to the vest all herself and, like, undermine. Like, yeah, Tilly got caught, but Tilly's like, this is why I did it.
Right.
And, like, Michael always tried to, like, outsmart process of being in trouble, just like the person who tries to cheat. So
yeah, Michael couldn't
and pass the test.
Yeah, Michael couldn't understand why she was in trouble, or even if she did, why don't you see what I did was I did it for the right reasons, even though she did. If they had fired first, the war would never have happened.
Yeah, I totally agree with that.
Yeah,
but you like look at the grand like scale of things, like gigantic space war versus maybe Tilly getting crushed, like just astronomically different.
Agreed.
But also what I'm saying is when you go to punish someone and when someone's like, this is why I did it, and they don't lie to you, you instinctively back down because you're like primed already for this fucking counter. And when you go, oh, okay, did it for that. You didn't lie to me. So, I mean, not fucking fired up for that anymore. And you're not stupid, so I really don't need to punish you because you know what you did was wrong, but you did it for this. And all right, so what the fuck am I really going to tell you? Like, we're not arguing about anything, right? But like Michael always did but we did this, or but we could have, like, like blah 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 blah. And like I know her thing was greater, but even like her shit down the road lies, or like how to try to make the story. Again, a lot of the times we said, if she would just tell this dude right here, right now, like one more piece of information. Like
the Red Angel that she doesn't tell to the end.
Yeah, like that, like her little hangups by Richard's. I don't even know it's a hangup. It's probably just natural things that everybody does is, thinks about something first before they go spouting it out. Like Tilly doesn't have that filter. No. But luckily for Tilly, she's super bubbly and everything she says is like from the sweetest place in the earth. Right. Like it's hard to be mad at someone like that. Like you can't.
Stammet said it right last episode. He called her incandescent.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, she is. It's great. But yeah, that arc, as always, like she had her funny stuff last season, but this one, we get her, but we know there's an underlying arc to it. Like, it's not just because she's bubbly and fun. There's some shit that we're gonna get to learn, and a whole arc for her that's gonna be awesome. And that's if I wasn't already into the show, that was enough to hook me, because it's so like it's there in your face, but it's also like they're not telling you anything. You don't know anything, and it's great.
Yeah, and the cool thing is like about Tilly's character too is the fact that like she's so sweet on this side of the mirror, but we also got to see her play like a total badass, when she was, impersonating.
Right.
But you get to see her range, but now it's not unexpected for Tilly to be stern or forceful, but her natural is just this little magical little butterfly that's just floating on clouds of love and awesome energy. Right.
Right.
And it's cool now because you know what she can do. And now I think they're really starting to show off like her brain too. I mean, because she's not just working under Stamets because like he likes her or can tolerate her. I mean, yes, he can tolerate her better than anybody else.
True.
But I like, and I mean, he hates everybody equally. You know what I'm saying? But for some reason, her personality is the one that he goes, if I have to deal with one all day, that's the one I'm going to deal with. Right. Like, right. I don't think that's the reason. Like, yes, that's part of it, but she's also insanely intelligent. And like, we're gonna see her brain really clicking this season. I feel like,
yeah.
Like we said last season, they introduced the kind of fun, bubbly person, which like she nailed to a fucking T. And then they showed her be a badass. And now we've like watched her do Jean Grey shit, you know, with like saving planets, creating fucking images and, you know, blah, 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 blah. Cause like, I still don't think that was like a knock on the head. I was seeing stars kind of thing.
Right.
I think that was whatever has happened to her kind of trying to like explain itself, but also,
or maybe even the dark matter reacting to her.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Like what it's that.
Well, then say it that way next time.
But what I'm saying is like, I think she's doing it. Like, I don't think it's all happenstance, whether she's doing it uncontrollably or not. Like, so that person that was created, I think was like a fail safe for her brain.
Right. Yeah. So she could actually process it.
Yeah. So as she was talking these ideas out, you know, the damaged part was actually that piece that was just kind of like over there, just throwing supportive follows, you know, like, right. Yeah, that's a good idea. Keep going with that.
Right. Yeah. I'm ready to see the rest of it. Like I said, next episode, I would not be surprised if we didn't see Discovery at all next episode. Probably won't do that, but you never know. I think we're gonna spend a lot of time on Kronos, or at least wherever Giorgio is. We'll get to see some of her Section 31 shit because we know she joined that at the end of, or in between the two seasons. Thanks to that deleted scene they showed us that was canon. Other than that, I think we've hit everything I could think about for this episode off the top of my head. I know I'll bring it up next week if I thought we didn't hit something. We got to see Pike. I didn't really bring it up because it wasn't anything but what we saw in the trailer. But like when Pike jumps, when they jump for the first time, and like that was just funny. Like I chuckled because he was like, "Whoa!" when they used the spore drive. But it was literally the exact scene from the trailer, so nothing else added to it really.
No. But it's a good scene. I mean, it's simple. It's simple, funny. You could show it a fucking 100 times and you'd be like, I'm pretty sure that's exactly how it would look and feel. And I'm pretty sure someone that has already been through it saw that. They would say that every fucking time.
Right. So, yeah. And that's about it. We thank everybody who's tuned in and stayed on for our delve into this episode and our delve into all sorts of theories that are more than likely wrong, but they're fun to talk about, fun to bat around. And remember to like us, subscribe to us, turn on the notifications. You're going to get the Star Trek episodes pretty much every Monday, but after that, you know, things can be delayed. So make sure you get each new episode every week it comes out, and review us if you want to, wherever you listen to your podcast. And we will catch all of you next week for episode 3 of Star Trek Discovery Season 2. Thanks for listening.
Toodles.
Is that what you're going with?
Mm-hmm. I'm going with. You can also leave this part in here too.
I'm gonna leave it in.
Toodles again. Toodles later. Toodles tomorrow.
Jesus.